Welcome to Channel AMAC, your insight to the Australian visa system. Good day everyone, my name is Carl Yang, your online YouTube visa consultant. Are you interested in migrating to Australia? Why don't you consider to subscribe to my channel and turn on the bell on the side, so once you have all the updates and news, you'll be the first one getting all the insight. Now, as you have clicked into the video today, the state of Queensland has officially announced its opening for its state nomination of skill migration. Now, despite that, the state of Queensland does provide the minimal quota this year for the financial year of 2024-25, but there's still opportunity there. I believe the Queensland is eagerly to switch it into a change as it welcomes the Olympic coming under 2032, and also the energy sector. It requires a lot of talents to be there. So let's jump in there and have a look and now do some explanation. However, despite the beautiful website has been built, you see all the videos and robotics, the beautiful scenes, but there are some bugs in there once they have updated. I think they have just done it today. I'll get some updates because the first two pathway of the state nomination in regards to the Queensland graduates and also people who work in Queensland, the web page is still not there yet. Don't know how they actually done it, but first of all, it reads program updates. The 2024-25 Queensland state nomination migration is open. Now, what do I mean? This skilled graduates and things. If you go into skill options and we go to skill visa there, and we click on the skilled workers living in Queensland, let's see what happens. It just doesn't go anywhere. It's the same page, and so was the graduate of the Queensland universities still. As you see, it's just repeating, going into the same web page. I believe they will get that updated soon, but I will provide you what they had actually offered from last year. I believe they will be the same there. Anyway, let's start with this page, shall we? It says the 2024-25 state nomination migration. There's the quota and requires is only 600 for the subclass 190 visa and also 600 for the subclass 491 visa. It's not many there. And I believe there's a major change and overhaul is gonna come up very soon for Queensland. Unfortunately, just not many, but the opportunity is still there. Now, last but not least, I forgot to mention, there's also this small business owner operating in regional Queensland. I don't think it's actually available there too. So if I click on that, yeah, you see that jumps back to the home page, so it's not there yet. We don't know if they will continue to have that SBO optional pathway. The Tasmanians and also the South Australia has closed the SBO, so not too sure if Queensland will continue to have that one, but they definitely has enforced a harder criteria for the SBO. We haven't really promoted too much about SBO because it has the potential risk, because it requires you to actually start a business. Now, starting a business, you throw in the money straight away. After 12 months of operation in regional Queensland, the law may change. If the law changes and you're still operating a business, it doesn't equate that you will get nomination or you get a visa. So there's a huge risk involved in that one. So just bear in mind if you wanted to go into that route. Now, let's go back there. So skill visas, 2024-25 state nomination migration updates. It's open now. They'll be announced on Queensland website when available. There's a range of critical skill shortage. We would like to go in there and have a look at the information there. So skilled workers outside Australia. I don't know why this web page is ready but not ready for the Queensland graduates and not ready for skilled workers inside of Queensland. So anyhow, they may get that updated. Now let's have a look at the skilled workers outside Australia for 2024 and 25. So who is pathway for so people who is the transition to net zero climate change, deliver more hospital, upgrade schools, more housing, Queensland increasing demand of healthcare. Who is eligible? So there are 2 categories. It might be really tiny, but if you're watching through your smart TV, it will be good because it will be actually bigger. Because it's just too much information here. Anyway, that's all I can magnify. Now, okay. So for 190, remember there's only 600 quota for this year. The points required will be the minimal 65. I will say higher than that will be more possible. I'll aim at about 75 plus, because anything less than that, I think it will be really rare that you get invited. 491 is the same. Okay, occupation. There's an offshore Queensland skill occupation list. We're gonna take a look at that later. And there's the English requirement, have a proficient English or higher. That means IELTS 7. If you have an IELTS 7, you probably have higher EOI points. That will be above 75 definite. Work experience, they need to have at least 5 years of skill work experience in order to get 190. And so was a 491, need to at least 5 years of work experience. Only work experience declared is related to your nominated occupation in your EOI. I think that's the same. What's the difference between this statement and that one? I think they are exactly the same. Okay, so why would you choose 491 rather than 190 then? Well, I don't know. Well, I mean, if it's gonna be me, I'll choose 190 because you get permanent residency straight away, unless you really, doesn't really mind 491 because you like to go regional Queensland. Commitment, you need to commit to 2 years of living in Queensland, and commitment for 491 is 3 years. Again, that's the problem with the current skill migration criteria. I mean, if you pick regional, you actually get disadvantages. You got to live 3 years commitments. If you pick suburban CBD area, you only need to commit to 2 years. Then why would you pick regional? So again, I think there will be a major change, but this is required to be coming from the federal government rather than the state, because state could not change too much. Because they need to work within that point test system framework. Priority processing for energy workers. So if you're in the energy sector, you have that priority there. So if you're in the hydrogen, if you're in solar, wind power, all kind of green energy, grids and things like that, you'll be prioritized. Need to have a positive skill assessment. Have been working your nominated occupation for at least 3 years in the energy sector, so that will be the way to go. Selecting an invitation for Queensland nomination. So being selected and invited to apply to Queensland is competitive process. Migration Queensland periodically select and invites candidate, and then obviously that means you need to have as high points as possible before you apply. Check whatever you need to do this and do that. Let's go in there, have a look at. First of all, we check out the offshore Queensland skill occupation list. From what I can see, you probably get the construction project manager, so that's for the construction industry. Builder, engineering manager, most of the engineers are all in there. Material, civil, geotechnical, structural, electrical, electronic, industrial, mechanical. Is it material there? Didn't see that. No, mining, petroleum, environmental, and naval architects all in there too. And project manager is not for 190. You gotta go for regional to build. Anyway, you need to check this out. You may want to Google and find this list by yourself to check things out. All the teachers, primary, middle, secondary, and also all the medical health related occupation is all in this list. So bear in mind, this is from offshore people, okay? And the trades relates to the building sector, construction sector is all in there as well. Now, bear in mind, we've seen the requirement you need to have a proficient English. So basically, these will be more suitable for people coming from the US, Canada, and UK, because I don't think these trades people from, for example, Asia will actually get IELTS 7. Well, they can, but it will be pretty hard to find those people, if you know what I mean. And there's a Queensland Energy Skill Occupation list, so mostly all the engineers, as you can see, related to all the energy sector there. Now, jumping again, this is a document checklist, so most of them are pretty commonly known already. You need to get a state nomination. If you're working in Queensland or graduates, you need to show that your visa through the Vivo statements that you can actually generate it. You need to get skill assessment for all type of pathways. Knowing that there is no SBO here, small business owner, so I suspect that SBO will be removed because this is an updated checklist. And there's no SBO here. Evidence of residential address, if you're in Queensland, that's for working or graduate from Queensland. I will talk about the former criteria later, and showing your commitments and your evidence of your salaries and work there. And there's just a checklist of explanatory notes. And the applying, you need to get your EOI first. That's the first thing that you need to check with. And then you throw in a registration of interest for Queensland as well. So where do you go once you get that? You have these three types. There's a worker living in Queensland, a worker outside of Australia, and registration for 491 SBO. So I'm not too sure if they still will have that one there, because this is the same as previous. Now, talk a little bit about the former criteria for the graduate. Despite that, the Queensland website we're still having issues showing those Queensland graduates and the working in Queensland. So the Queensland graduate will require the students to have a full studies in Queensland. So they cannot have first semester from Adelaide or New South Wales or Victoria. They have to commit to from their first semester to actually study in Queensland in order to get to meet the criteria for the state nominations. So that's for the graduates, and I suspect the English requirement will be as high as the proficient as well, if they requires higher than that, because the current years of quota is pretty low and limited, so I don't think they will drop it down to the competent English level. Then for the people that work in Queensland, obviously it will be similar to the offshore, and they require to show that they have been paid and employed working in Queensland. Now, whether the length of job offer or job contracts in Queensland, I think there will be some restrictions there. As you can see from the offshore, that means they are outside of Australia. They're required to demonstrate that they have, for example, 3 years of work experiences in the industry. Now, for the people already working in Queensland, perhaps they're only required to demonstrate they have 12 months working in Queensland, or they have a job offer that's for the graduates for the upcoming 6 months or 1 year of working in Queensland. So here we go. That's for the state nomination of the state of Queensland. How do you think? Maybe you can leave a comment right down below, and I'll see you next video. Goodbye.